with Ryan S. Clark of The Athletic. Ryan, this regular season was so dominant for the Florida Panthers. I mean, this is a team that was setting records for their goal scoring. Do you think there's any sort of concern that they might struggle to get their play up to a playoff level, considering just how easily they kind of breezed through the last few months of the season?
It's interesting because it all depends upon your perspective. So let's look at the playoffs just as an example. The last time they won a playoff series was the 1995-96 season, the same year they went to the Stanley Cup. And when you think about their roster, some of the guys on that roster weren't even born yet. That's how long it's been. But at the same time, this has also been the most successful period the Panthers have had. They've made the postseason 3 straight years. Of course, there's the year of the play-in and the bubble, the qualifying round, and of course the last 2 years they've made it. But in terms of their scoring, it's just been about balance. Of course, we all know Jonathan Huberdeau finished in the top 5 in points over 80 games. Alexander Barkov had 88 and 67, which if he'd played 80 games, that would have been a 105-point pace. But when you look at the balance, again, Barkov, Huberdeau, Anthony Duclair, and Sam Reiner all finished with at least 30 goals. Sam Bennett had 28, Carter Verhaeghe had 24. They had they had more than 4 players, I apologize. They had quite a few players, around 11 or 12, that finished with more than 40 points. In fact, it ended up being around 13 that finished with more than 10 goals. So the thing is this, the scoring balance appears to be there. But again, you're talking about how it'll look in the playoffs, which with this team, that's even been their big MO. They've admitted, like, for all the things they've done this season and in previous seasons and the success they've had, it's how do you make that translate into winning a playoff series?
Well, a big way they could make that translate, Ryan, would be Aaron Ekblad on defense. What's the latest with Ekblad and his health as he's working his way back from a pretty significant injury?
Well, just from what was said yesterday at practice, it seems like he's starting to kind of get back to that point. They're currently practicing right now, but the thought is he's someone that you could see in this series, and if he does, that is going to make a huge difference, because when you look at Aaron Ekblad's numbers, you're talking about the kind of season that if he doesn't get injured, where does he rank in the Norris discussion? A Norris discussion that obviously has been dominated by Cale Makar, Roman Josi, but when you look at other players like a Victor Hedman, an Adam Fox, a Charlie McAvoy, Jacob Slavin, like Aaron Ekblad would be in that conversation, and for some people he probably is. It's just when you look at how voting's going to go, it goes back to the games played for him.
Ryan, if we look at this Panthers team, or if maybe we're looking at this again from like a Washington perspective, is there a weak spot for the Panthers that you think the Capitals can exploit? Or is this going to be a series where, hey, if the Panthers just play their game, have that B+ or A- level kind of performance night in, night out, they'll roll through?
There's a couple things. The first is, let's go back to the experience. I mean, the Capitals have been where the Panthers want to go, and not only just winning a Stanley Cup, but having playoff success. But it also goes back to this too. We think about those early years of Alexander Ovechkin and Nicholas Backstrom and the like, and it took time for them to win a Stanley Cup. Whereas if you look at the Florida Panthers, what is the realistic expectation for this season? I mean, they had the best record in the league, but like, what do people realistically expect? And that's where it goes back to, so how will they perform? Yes, they're the overwhelming favorite to win this series, but at the same time, like, what does that look like given just their history? But if you're looking for an area, maybe there's two. The first is, let's look at goaltending, especially Sergei Bobrovsky. Like, so this year, Sergei Bobrovsky, he was a 39-game winner with a 2.67 goals against, 913 save percentage, but at the same time, he's won 2 of the 6 playoff starts he has had with the Florida Panthers. And when you think about what he did last year, 5.33 goals against, 841 save percentage, and in his career, he's 13-23 with a 3.24 GAA and a .899 save percentage. It's what makes Spencer Knight so important. Of course, we saw what he did last year, going 1-1 with a 2.06 GAA and a .933 save percentage. But another thing to look at is this. The Panthers own the puck. That is what they do. They led the league in shot attempt percentage, and it was a super, super, super high number at 65.72%. But if you are the Capitals, you want to try to find a way to get high danger chances, because when you look at it, the Panthers allowed the 22nd most high danger chances per 60 in 5-on-5 play, according to Natural Stat Trick. But at the same time, they were eighth. They were eighth in allowing the fewest high danger goals per 60. So you got to try to find those chances and convert when you can.
So Ryan, give us your pick. Who wins the series and in how many games?
You're not getting me on that one. That's you and Tyler. You guys are the pick crew. So I'm just the objective reporter, man. But let's just say this. You look at what all the numbers suggest, it seems to think that the Panthers win this series in around 5 or 6.
It was worth a try. That's Ryan S. Clark from The Athletic, who is now covering the Florida Panthers throughout their playoff run. You're used to seeing him on the Kraken and throughout NHL national stories. Looking forward to your coverage, Ryan, throughout the Panthers playoff run.